Hello, I'm Gabriella Buckingham. Today I want to briefly show you one of the ways that I explore colour and composition at the same time. It's really exciting to work very small initially and create compositions from your imagination, because that way you're not at all limited and you can be really creative in the way that you design your objects. They can also be incredibly simple, and they can be quite bad in terms of drawing. It doesn't matter. You can search for real things to draw from if you are a realistic painter after you've worked out the way you're going to treat your colour and value. This is an exercise that we do at great length on experimental still life. So I'm just going to show you a little bit of something I did after the live lesson that I created last week. So here you can see that I've got my System 3 magenta, and I've also mixed up a little bit of golden primary cyan and their primary yellow to make this very rich and very bright lime colour. Essentially I mixed those two colours together with a bit of white to create this background colour, which is very similar to this really. And then I have just made 4 backgrounds, and I'm going to paint fast little compositions in mixtures of these colours on here. So before I do that, I'm going to take the tape off so that you can see the colours more clearly, the background colours. There we are. It was a real struggle to get it off. And the lesson there is use thicker paper. So I'm just going to glue that down so that it doesn't distract me too much. So I'm just going to use a bit of Yoo-hoo in this instance, but you could use some kind of medium. I'm going to take some of the pure magenta, which I wouldn't normally do. I don't normally use pure colour, saturated colour exactly as it is. I usually mix something into it, even if it's just a tiny bit of a complementary colour or another colour that I'm using in a palette. So I'm going to do my round table because I quite like that. When I say my round table, that's something I've just done, a composition like that. Do you know what I notice? What a beautiful colour, because this magenta is only System 3. It's not very dense, and I've got quite a damp brush. What I notice is how lovely it looks with this peachy colour coming through. Really nice. I will use this on there because I think it would look really lovely, the contrast of it, because this is muted down so much that it's more yellow than it is green, but it's a greeny yellow. And I think that will look, you can see how lovely that will look on there. I'll leave the brush in the paint, and maybe I'll do a light green on this. Okay, I'm going to, let's just fill this one with what seemed to have got, it's got a bit of another colour in it, unfortunately. I don't really want that, but let's cover it up. That must have been from my water, I think. A little bit of colour from the edge of the jug. So this is a tonal experiment as much as anything, exploring how you might be able to use complementary colour, but also seeing it tonally and solving problems, like what do you want your attention to go to. And then this one, maybe I'll have a very pale pink. maybe in the background, and maybe the table is yellow. I could just do this. Just a little tiny bit more pink. Make it really a cool, it's like a cool white almost. And let that dry. And then this pale pink, the paint was a little bit too thin for this, but I quite like it. Now I'm just going to use that pale pink again, grab a bit more and mix more of a salmony pink, and I'll do a sort of pattern. Maybe I'll do zigzags, as if this is a wall. I've just been to visit Charleston in East Sussex, which was really inspiring. I loved the way they painted the walls and the colours that they used. In fact, these colours are quite Charleston. And I was thinking, well, I could go home and paint our walls, but my husband's not too keen, and I don't blame him, because my patterns like this are not the most regimented. But this is, as I say, this is just a rough, and it's just me sort of exploring tonally what you can do with a limited palette. So this isn't really eye-catching, which is my intention, because obviously I'm going to make this into a still life painting of some sort. So it's just a backdrop. So you could do anything. You could do swirls, dots, something curvy, maybe. That's a very, it's all gone a bit pear-shaped here. But I like the fact that that's quite subtle, and you're getting the pale pink coming through, and it's enhancing the peachy colour. I'm just going to paint a little shape on here to explore how that might look, and draw into it, because I'm not really happy with that shape. I'll just scrape out that. I'll come back in with magenta and just put that in there. I'll do that because that's got a little bit of dark from my brush annoying me. From the must be paint on the end of this brush. Yeah, because I often use paint brushes to scrape into paint with. So that's nice, and that really stands out, doesn't it? I think that lime colour would be fun on there. Just get a stiff brush, get some of the lime, but maybe I don't want it to be so saturated, so I'm going to take a bit of this peachy colour, see what that does, and it should make a colour a bit like that. Hard to tell. I need a bit more of that, and a bit more white, maybe subtle. I'll make a shallow fruit bowl, and then to make that darker inside, just a bit more of the magenta in it. And I'll deliberately leave a little bit of that magenta showing through, like it's the edge of the bowl, so it's a really chunky bowl. And then maybe I'll have a little white jug on the edge, as if it's breaking for freedom. And obviously you're kind of limited by how good your paintbrushes are, and this one is dreadful. It's really I'm doing that classic thing, blaming your tools. But I like that composition, and I do like the colours, and interestingly I don't feel I need to bring in a really dark colour. I think that's nice. What I might do is just do a simple carpet colour and maybe make it a lighter colour than the background, than the wall, sorry, more like that, but even lighter. So all I need to do for that is just keep mixing a little bit of white into that colour. Normally I might decide what the carpet was going to be before I then painted the table, but in this instance I think it works quite well to paint around it, because you can leave little areas of the peach showing if you want, and you can also make the legs crisper if you want to do that as well. And these are not meant to be finished paintings, they are just discovery paintings for colour. So I'm going to continue on with that, but I thought you'd like to see, and this is the kind of thing that I'm doing in the experimental still life course. This is a great way to make it a little bit easier on yourself if you're trying to scale up. If you work out the exact colour palette, mix it all up and put it in jars, then you can keep on mixing new colours, but you'll always have the origin colours in enough quantity that you can cover a large area, or enough of an area. You will know how much you need to mix depending on the colour balance in your work. So I hope that inspires some of you. Let me know if it does, and also let me know if you have any questions as well. If you've enjoyed this, please like it, and even better, if you've enjoyed it, you've liked it, why not subscribe? Bye.